Hey, what's up, guys? Wood here, and welcome to A Man a Minute. You know, in today's society and currently in this culture that we find ourselves in this climate of utter confusion and change and difference, it's very easy to lose sight of who we are and what we profess to be as Christians. I'm talking about people that say they follow Jesus. I want you to ask yourself this question today. Are the pressures of life shaping the way that I am as a believer and a follower of Christ? And I want to explain that a little clearer by reading through Galatians, because it's so pivotal and important that we understand that we must not lose sight of the gospel of Jesus Christ, not just the gospel of being good or doing right. As we see in the world today, there's so many instances where we see this is the wrong way to live, this is the right way to live, this is good behavior, this is bad behavior. But as followers of Jesus, our whole life is meant to be about Christ. He's pivotal. You can't say you're a Christian and not have Christ in your life. You can say you're good and never mention Jesus, absolutely. But as a Christian, as a follower, He must be pivotal in our lives. That means that we need to know about Jesus, who He is, what He's done, and what He's made available to you and I today, and what He's called us for. Now let me read this passage in Galatians chapter 1. It's quite a long passage, so just read this along with me. Galatians 1, and we'll start with verse 6. I am shocked that you are turning away so soon from God, who called you to Himself through the loving mercy of Christ. You are following a different way that pretends to be the good news, but is not the good news at all. You are being fooled by those who deliberately twist the truth concerning Christ. Let God's curse fall on anyone, including us, or even an angel from heaven, who preaches a different kind of good news than the one we preached to you. I say again, what have we said before? If anyone preaches any other good news than the one you welcomed, let that person be cursed. Obviously, I'm not trying to win the approval of people, but of God. If pleasing the people were my goal, I would not be Christ's servant. Wow, take a moment and just soak in that letter, that message. It's so powerful. And I love the way he ends that section. He says, I'm not trying to please or get the approval of man, but of God. And this is the danger that I think we find ourselves in the world today. The pressures to be politically correct, to be socially correct, to be racially correct. You know, all of these things, there are some fantastic movements going on, but at the same time, there's deceptions going on. And I believe for some of us, we need to be careful that the good news, the gospel, doesn't start to get watered down into just good deeds and good acts. Because ultimately, you can do good deeds, but not have Christ in the center of it. Ultimately, God says, only God is good. So to truly understand what good deeds and good acts are, we truly need to understand who Christ is. And Jesus is revealed to us by the Spirit of God. But there's a danger that we try to please man. The pressures of society can pressure you into doing good deeds, and you can forget quickly the gospel with which you were saved. That Jesus came, Jesus died, He's risen from the dead, and He is God Himself, and He has saved us from our sin, our wretchedness. Despite of us, God in His grace came and saved us. But the pivotal point of that is it's about Jesus. It's all about Christ. So my question is today, when you're having conversations online, on social media, or with your friends, are you trying to win an argument, or are you trying to point them to Christ? Because you see, you can win an argument and totally push people away from Jesus just by the way that you're walking, just by the way that you're talking. You just want to win as opposed to bring them closer to Christ. See, God has called you and I to be vessels of the kingdom. And He says the love of God will draw men unto Him. Is the love of God your primary motive when you're speaking to a brother or a sister? You can also use this and say, is the gospel pivotal in my lifestyle today? Is the gospel pivotal in my marriage? Is the gospel pivotal in my business, in my workplace? You see, without Christ, there is no Christian. But the pressure is that when you try to please man, you can almost take Jesus out of the equation and just try to do good deeds or to please somebody. God says that's not who you're called for. You are set apart. You are called a holy nation, a royal priesthood. You see, God has called you for such a time as this. Let's not lose sight of the central core of this message. The gospel of what? Good? No, the gospel of Jesus Christ. So look at your life. Just assess it. Make sure that you're putting it up against the red letters of Jesus, how He lived, what He called us to be, how He called us to walk, how He called us to be filled with the Spirit so we could walk with the Beatitudes. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are the humble. Are we walking with those traits? Because only then can we truly point people to Jesus. Our good deeds alone won't save you. Your good deeds alone won't bring you closer to God. Only Jesus makes the way. That's why He's called the way, the truth, and the life. Is that truly the marker in your life today? In your relationships, in the way you love your wife, the way you love your husband? Is it in a way that brings you and them closer to Jesus, or just for you to gratify whatever it is that you're trying to get out of life at this moment in time? I pray that as you listen to this, that you would let this message, the gospel of the good news of Jesus, just sink so deep in your heart that you go chasing after Him. Look for Him, the red letters of Christ throughout the Gospels. Come to know Jesus, who He is, what He's done, what He's made available to you today, and what He's called you to be, a son and a daughter of the living God, set apart for Him and Him alone. Stay blessed and run deep in love with Jesus today.
All of heaven roars your name, sing loud. Let this place erupt with praise. Can you hear it? The sound of heaven touching earth. Come, Lord, the sound of heaven touching earth. Oh, yeah. break our walls down. Yeah, yeah. Spirit, break out. Heaven come, heaven come down. We are desperate, we are thirsty. On this dry and weary land, come and breathe the Spirit upon us. We need you, we need you. King Jesus, you're the name we're lifting high. Your glory shaking up the earth and skies with revival. We want to see your kingdom come as it is in heaven. Let it be here on earth, Lord. Oh, we want to see, we want to see, we want to see you high and lifted up above every name, Jesus. Your glory, your splendor, oh, your spirit, Spirit, break out. Oh, break our walls down. Oh, please break out. Spirit, break out. Oh, heaven come down. Holy Spirit, break out. Oh, Lord, we are desperate, we are hungry. Only you, only you, only you, God. On a dry and weary land, we want to see your kingdom come. Spirit, break out. Break our walls down, Lord Jesus. Spirit, break out. Heaven come down. Only you, only you. Only you deserve all of the glory, all of the praise belongs to you, belongs to you, belongs to you. There is power, wonder-working power. There is power, wonder-working power in the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus, there is power, wonder-working power. I see those chains falling.